Miss Baylor's Ghost at Flint Ridge. If there is one place in Logan County that has its liberal amount of ghost stories, it would be Shaco, also in the southern part of the county. On the outskirts of Shaco, there is a 2-story brick mansion so old it has a crack in the wall from the New Madrid earthquake back in 1811. It still stands today and is called Flint Ridge. The house was first built by Colonel Robert Baylor, an early settler of the county, but he fell into financial troubles and had to sell Flint Ridge to the McCuddy family at public auction, maybe. The Baylor family moved to Mississippi, at least in body. Miss Frances Baylor so loved Flint Ridge and couldn't bear to leave. She had entertained guests on numerous occasions, and her garden was a true refuge for her. The irises were her favorites. Miss Baylor was so heartbroken about leaving that many said she lost her soul, which wasn't far from the truth. A month after moving to Mississippi, she became bedridden and soon died. The children of the McCuddy family noticed her first. They asked their parents who was the lady in white in the garden by the irises. The McCuddys went to the garden but saw no one. They chastised the children for telling fibs. A week later, Miss McCuddy heard a noise that awoke her from bed. She shook her husband, telling him someone was in the house. Reluctantly, Mr. McCuddy stepped out of bed carrying a revolver in one hand and a little candle holder in the next. He awoke a servant to help look through the house with him. They didn't find anything. However, Miss McCuddy didn't sleep for the rest of the night because she kept hearing sounds. They sounded as if someone was walking through the building. The sounds continued the next night. Mr. McCuddy heard them this time. "It sounds like furniture is being moved," he whispered to his wife. The servant, already awake, with fear on his face, was waiting for him to begin searching through the mansion. They were startled to see all the furniture in the parlor room had been moved against the wall.
They searched throughout Flint Ridge for any intruders. The main doors were unlocked, but they were never locked. From then on, they were at night. That following morning, Mrs. McCuddy and her servants moved the furniture back to their proper places. Still, the noises continued. Even the children were hearing them. They told their parents that they saw the lady in the white moving the furniture. After a week of this unexplainable activity, Mr. McCuddy had the furniture nailed to the floor. That night was the worst the family had endured. They could hear through the bedroom door someone trying to move the furniture, trying to uproot the nails. They heard the sad wailings of a woman. Then there was silence that lasted for so long that it made Mr. and Mrs. McCuddy even more nervous. The silence was broken by the sounds of heavy footsteps marching up the stairs and pacing by their door in angry fashion. Furniture was knocked over, flower vases were broken, and Mr. McCuddy opened the door. He could make out the impression of a woman wearing a white dress. He saw her face and it terrified him. He shut the door and rested himself against it, unable to sleep. When the ruckus had all died down, the dawn of the sun had already risen. Mr. McCuddy awoke the servant and asked him to remove all the nails from the furniture downstairs. Mrs. McCuddy and the other servants cleaned the upstairs. What was damaged was replaced, which took a month for them to arrive. Since that night, they allowed the woman in white to move furniture without interruption. By the time the morning came, the furniture was moved back to its proper place. After a month passed, the McCuddys began to hear other voices, the mumbling of people as if it was a party, and then they even heard music. After a while, the whole family and their servants grew accustomed to the sounds and even lulled the household to sleep.